morning students. Hope you are all fine. Today we are going to see chapter 8 Body Movements in Grade 6 Science NCERT book. Students, just imagine you are sitting on a bench. Now observe your body immediately. What do you feel? Have you noticed your eyes are blinking time to time? Yes. What happens when you breathe? And when you are writing something, which part of your body is moving? Yes, our hands. When you are in a sitting position, you can turn your neck slidewise. You can also walk, skip, jump and change your place. This all happens due to the movements that happen in our body. So students, in this chapter we will read all such types of movements. In this chapter we will read all these types of movements and how these movements takes place. This all we are going to read in this lesson. Students, all animals show same kind of movements. All animals show same kind of movements. Does a bird or a snake move in the same way as you do? No. Each animal has its own way of moving. Each animal has its own way of moving. Let's see how animals move from place to place. See, first one is a caterpillar. How does it move? Yes, it's creeping. Next one, butterfly. It's flying. See, next one is a fish. How does it move? Yes, it's swimming. It will swim. Next one is a frog. How does it move? Yes, it's hopping. So students, walk, run, fly, jump, creep, crawl and swim. These are only a few ways by which animals move from one place to another. Why are there so many differences in the way that animals move from one place to another? Animals have different type of skeletons. Why they are moving in a different ways? Because they have different types of skeletons. The skeleton of some animals do not have bones. So, the way in which they move might be different. So, the reason is a skeleton. Because of that skeleton, they have different kinds of movements. All these movements are a result of interaction and coordination of muscular and skeletal system of our body or animal's body. Muscular system means the muscles. Muscular system means the muscles. And the skeletal system means the bones and joints of our body or else in animals. In different animals, different types of movements can be seen. For example, the human beings are able to walk. The insects crawl, the birds fly, the fish swim, and the rabbit jump. In this chapter, we will study about our own skeletal and muscular system. These two skeletal and muscular system make our movements possible and the movement of some common animals. First, we'll see about human skeletal system. What is a skeleton? Have you ever touched your arm? Touch it. What do you feel? Do you feel a hot substance in it? Isn't it? Yes. Our body is made up of very hot substance called the bone. Our body made up of very hot substance called the bones. You are able to stand, move just because of these bones. How can we move, stand and walk? Because of these bones. Imagine yourself without bones. Is it possible to stand without these bones? Just imagine yourself without bones. Is it possible to stand, walk, run without these bones? No, never. The bones in your body make up a framework called skeleton. What is skeleton? The bones in our body make up a framework called a skeleton. These bones give shape to our hands and our body. These bones give shape to our body, hands, leg, and also it's help us to holding things, walk, run. This kind of activities we are doing with help of our bones. And suppose we don't have these bones, what happen? Yes, are just like jelly. Our body just like jelly. We cannot hold things without bones, and we cannot get the structure without our bones. There is no bones, we are like a jelly. Bones give structure, strength and rigid and help us to move in different ways. Bones present at different parts of the body join up to make a skeleton. Our skeletal system is made up of bones. And joints. It's give our body shape and a basic framework. Gives our body shape and the basic framework. An adult human being has 206 bones. An adult human being has 206 bones. Children have more bones. Do you know one thing? When you were born, there were 300 bones in your body. Slowly, some of the bones fuse together. Fuse means joined. Joined together. When you become an adult, you will have 206 bones inside your body. These 206 bones are arranged in a fixed manner and form the skeletal system. The skeleton is a framework of bones. This framework of bones enclosed and protect the internal organs. This framework enclosed and protect the internal organs and give support, safe and strength to our body. Now we'll see parts of skeleton. Parts of skeleton. The human skeletal system consists of the skull, the backbone, the ribs and two pairs of limbs and two pairs of girdles. First we are going to see skull. See this picture. This one we call it as a skull. Skull is formed by a number of bones. Joined tightly together. Skull is formed by a number of bones joined tightly together. All its bones are immovable. Except the lower jaw. In skull, we can move the lower jaw only. We cannot move other bones. Skull products are brain. Skull is a strong bony case. That encloses and protects the brain. It has holes. That one we call it as a sockets for eyes, ears and nose. See this picture. See there, eye socket is there. Holes for nose. That one also nose socket. In sides we can see the ear sockets. The only bone in the skull that can move is the lower jaw. The only bone in the skull that can move is lower jaw. This enables us to talk and eat. The lower and upper jaw have teeth. Function of the skull. The skull encloses the brain and protects it from injury. So the skull encloses the brain and protects it from injury. Next one, the eye socket of the skull provides support and protection to the eyes. The eye socket. See there is eye socket. No, that eye socket of the skull provides support and protection to the eyes. The lower jawbone enables chewing of food and talking. Students, do you know one thing? Our skull is like a natural helmet. Why we are telling like this? Yes, that protect our brain from any external force or pressure. Why we are calling like a skull as a natural helmet? Yes, that protect our brain from any external force or pressure that may hurt us, that may hurt the brain. It also gives shape to our face. Skull also gives shape to our face. The upper part of skull made up of 8 flat bones. Joined together. The face and jaw contains 14 bones. We can only move lower jaw in a skull. Because of that lower jaw, we can chew and talk. Rest of the skull is immovable. Rest of the skull is immovable. Only lower jaw only movable. The skull is made up of 22 bones. The skull is made up of 22 bones. The upper part made up of 8 flat bones joined together. The face and jaw contains 14 bones. Totally, the skull is made up of 22 bones. Student, in newborn babies, some of the bones in the head are not fully formed and are joined together. So in newborn babies, the bones in the head are not fully formed and not joined together. That is the reason the top of the head of newborn babies is very soft. So that's a reason. What's the reason? It's not fully formed and not joined together. So that the head of the newborn baby is very soft, the top of the head. By 1.5 years, the bones get fully formed. By 1.5 years, the bones get fully formed. And the softness disappear. Next one, backbone or spine. Backbone or spine. Student, have you ever touched your back? Have you ever touched your back? Do it. Just move your hand along the center of your back. You will feel a long bony structure. Do you know what is this bony structure? Yes, this is the backbone. It is made up of number of small bones. See this picture? This is a backbone. These backbones are made up of number of small bones. It's not a smooth bone. See this one. So this one is made up of number of small bones. This one we call it as a backbones. The human backbone is made up of 33 small bones. These 33 small bones are called vertebrae. The human backbone is made up of 33 small bones called vertebrae. The backbone or spine product the spinal cord. Backbone is present at the center of our back from the neck till just above the hip region. See this picture, the backbone present at the center of your back from the neck. The top start from neck till just above the hip region. That end one is joined in the hip region, If you place your fingers at the back of your friend, just you have to do it, you can feel the structure. Our backbone is made up of number of small bones called vertebrae. 33 number of small bones. This is the reason it's called a vertebral column. Why we are called this backbone as a vertebral column means That small 33 vertebrae join together to form a vertebral column. 26 vertebrae in adult and 33 in children. 26 vertebrae in adults and 33 in children. Some of these get fused together as the children grow. These vertebrae are joined to each other by disc made up of cartilage. These vertebrae have a hole in the center. Through which the center the spinal cord passes. The spinal cord passes through this hole in the center of the vertebra. The backbone protects the spinal cord, which is part of our nerve system. The backbone protects the spinal cord. Next we'll see functions of the backbone. The backbone acts as the central support of the body. The backbone acts as the central support for the body. Along with the hip girdle, it helps us in standing upright and provides support during locomotion. It protects the spinal cord. The main function is it protects the spinal cord. And backbone give the central support for the body. And it helps in standing upright and it provides support during locomotion. Locomotion means motion. Move from one place to another. And students, do you know one thing? An owl can turn its head up to 270 degrees. Do you know this one? Because it has 14 bones in the neck region. Which is almost double the number present in humans. So it can turn its neck to 70 degrees. Backbone is protect the spinal cord. It contains 33 vertebrae in children's, and adult human has 26 vertebrae. These 26 vertebrae form a vertebral column. It protects the spinal cord. This one have a hole in the center. The vertebrae have a hole in the center. Through the center, spinal cord passes. Spinal cord passes through this hole in the center. Next we are going to see rib cage. Rib cage is a cage-like structure. That protects our heart and lungs. Rib cage is a cage-like structure that protects our heart and lungs. A thin, long and curved bones. Rib cage have thin, long and curved bones. This one located in our chest. Are called ribs. This one we call it as a ribs. This one have a cage-like structure. That's why we call it as a rib cage. The thin, long and curved bones located in a chest are called ribs. So this one have a cage-like structure. So we call it as a rib cage. cage. It is productive as well as flexible structure. It's productive as well as flexible structure that moves up and down. This rib cage moves up and down because it's a flexible structure. So when this one moves up and down during breathing. During breathing, this one moves up and down because the bones are very flexible. It is made up of 12 pairs of thin, flat and curved bones. It is made up of 12 pairs of thin, flat and curved bones. This one we already saw. These bones are, we call it as a ribs. These bones are, we call it as a ribs. All the ribs are joined at the back of the backbone. All the ribs are joined at the back of the backbones. See this picture. The bones are joined at the back of the backbone. See this one. See, the bones are joined at the back of the backbones. In the front 10 pairs of ribs are joined to the chest bone. See the front 10 bones. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These 10 bones are joined to the chest bone. Joined to the chest bone. The chest bone also we call it as a sternum. Chest bone we call it as a sternum. The 10 ribs, 10 pairs of ribs, both side have a 10 ribs. Both the 10 pairs of ribs joined to the chest bone. Chest bone also we call it as a sternum. And last 2 pairs. See that last 2 pairs not joined to the chest bones. Not joined to the chest bones. The last 2 pairs are joined only at the back. See, last 2 pairs are only joined at the back. It's not joined to the sternum or chest bone. So these 2 pairs are, we call it as a floating ribs. These 2 pairs are, we call it as a floating ribs. See this one. The 10 pairs of bones are joined to the chest bone or else sternum and also joined to the backbone. These 10 pairs we call it as a true ribs. We call it as a true ribs. And see, remaining 2 pairs. Each side have a 2 bones, totally 4 bones. These 2 pairs are not joined to the chest bone and it's joined only at the backbone. It joined only at the backbone. This one we call it as a floating ribs. This one we call it as a floating ribs. 24 bones are present in rib cage. 12 pairs of bones are present in rib cage. They make a cage-like structure. Called the rib cage. This rib cage protects the heart and lungs. This rib cage protects the heart and lungs. The ribs are joined to the backbone, at the back side, and the long flat bone called the sternum or chest bone in the front. Last two pairs are called the floating ribs because they are not joined to the chest bones. Next we'll see functions of the rib cage. Functions of the rib cage. It protects the lungs, heart and major blood vessels. It protects the lungs, heart and major blood vessels. And it anchors the muscles that help in breathing. It anchors the muscles that help in breathing. These two are the main functions of the rib cage. These two are the functions of the rib cage. Rib cage is present in the chest region of the body. It is made up of 12 pairs of bones called ribs. It's give a cage-like structure, so it's called as a rib cage. It protects the lungs and heart. Next we are going to see limbs. The arms and legs of our body are commonly called the limbs. Our arms and leg of the body are commonly called the limbs. We have two pairs of limbs. Arms are called the forelimbs or upper limbs. Arms are called the forelimbs or upper limbs. See, first image is forelimbs or upper limbs. Next one, leg are called the hind limbs or lower limbs. See that second picture, that one we call it as a leg. Leg are called the hind limbs or lower limbs. Each arm and each leg has 30 bones each. Each arm and each leg has 30 bones each. That means both the arms together have 60 bones and both the legs together have 60 bones. Both the arms together have 60 bones and both the legs together have 60 bones. First we'll see arms. Each arm has three main parts. First one, upper arm has a long bone. Called humerus that fits into the shoulder bone. Upper arm has a long bone that called humerus that fits into the shoulder bone. Next one, lower arm has two bones. The two bones called radius and ulna in the lower arm. The two bones called radius and ulna in the lower arm. See that one. First one is a radius and second bone is, we call it as a ulna. The lower end of ulna and radius are connected to the wrist. The wrist, palm and fingers have a 27 small bones joined together. Hand is made up of wrist, palm and fingers, and it is made up of 27 small bones joined together. Next one, leg or else lower limbs, lower limbs or else hind limbs or lower limbs. Like an arm, each leg has three main bones. Like an arm, each leg has three main parts. The upper leg has a long bone called femur. The upper leg has a long bone called femur. Femur or thigh bone is the longest bone in our body. Is the longest bone in our body. See in this picture, femur is there. That one is the longest bone in our body. This longest bone in our body fits into the hip girdle. Fit into the hip girdle. Lower leg has two bones. Lower leg has two bones. One is tibia and another one is fibula. One is tibia, another one is fibula. Foot is made up of ankle, sole and toes. It has 26 small bones joined together. It has 26 small bones joined together. Knee is protected by a special bone called kneecap. Knee is protected by a special bone called kneecap. Functions of limbs. The forelimb help in the performing several functions such as holding, lifting and gripping. Forelimbs helps in holding, lifting and gripping. The hind limb help to bear the weight of body at rest as well as during the movement. It helps in balancing the weight of the body at rest as well as during the movement of the body from one place to another. Several muscles are attached to the bones of the limbs. Next one, shoulder girdle and hip girdle. Shoulder girdle and hip girdle. First we'll see shoulder girdle. Shoulder girdle is made up of two thin collarbones. Two thin collarbones in front and two flat shoulder bones at the back. So, shoulder girdle is made up of two thin collarbones in front, two thin collarbones in front and two flat shoulder bones at back. See that picture? So, two thin collarbones in front and two flat shoulder bones in back. This one we call it as a shoulder girdle or pectoral girdle. Shoulder girdle also called as a pectoral girdle. Upper limbs are attached to the backbone with the help of pectoral girdle. Next one, hip girdle. Hip girdle is made up of number of bones joined together. It is the bone that you sit on. It is the bone that you sit on. It is joined to the backbone at the center and on its left and right side. It is attached to the thigh bone. Thigh bone is the longest bone in our body. So, this hip girdle joined to the backbone at the center, joined to the backbone at the center, and on its left and right side it is attached to the thigh bones. It is attached to the thigh bones. Okay students, today we discussed about body movements in human skeletal system, function of the skeletal system, and parts of the skeletal system. What are the parts present in skeletal system? Yes, skull, backbone or vertebral column, rib cage, limbs and girdle. These are the parts present in our skeletal system. These all are we discussed today. So students, read this all in your NCERT book. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you students. We will see remaining topics in our next class.